Everybody, hopefully you can hear me. Welcome. My name is Jennifer Scoggin. I'm the director of the Wyoming Office of State Lands and Investments. Today I have with me Jason Crowder. He is the deputy director, and we have Ben Buck over here manning the camera. He is our assistant director for our field services division. So thank you for taking your time to be here tonight. The purpose, as you know, is to take public comment related to the proposed disposal of the parcel. This public comment solicitation is being done in conjunction with the Board of Land Management Rules, Chapter 26. Our format tonight will be pretty straightforward. Deputy Crowder is going to provide a brief summary of the proposed disposal. He's got a PowerPoint for you all tonight. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the presentation because the idea is our presentation is on our website, so we also have our detailed analysis on our website for your review. After the presentation, we will take a couple of questions to get everybody all set and ready to comment. 10 minutes or so to make sure that everybody who wants to comment filled out one of these pink forms. They're over there on the table. You just have your name and who you're with and all of that, and where it says what your comments are. You don't have to tell all of them, just put some bullet points that give us the gist of what you intend to say, because we will be bundling up all of this and providing it to the Board of Land Commissioners. We are not the decision makers, we are the board's staff. So our job tonight is to obtain comment from you all and to package that up and take it to the board. If you don't want to speak, but you still want to fill out a form and give it to us, fill it in or email it in, you're welcome to do that as well. I would note for everybody that we are live streaming this meeting. We do not have the ability to take public comment, chat boxes, and online. This is not a Zoom video conference, so it's just strictly for viewing. So those who want to view the meeting have the ability to speak what we're talking about tonight. They will have the ability to attend other public meetings, which we will be in Casper and Cheyenne and Tony a little bit later in the month to take additional comments in-person meetings, if you will. But then there's always the ability to send them via snail mail, and Jason, it's the inbox full of your comments. So the comments will be taken until December 1st. The action gives a little bit of time to wrap things up. Agenda for their December 7th meeting. They will discuss it at that point. We will have all of the comments. We will provide them all. They have the analysis. They will have the slide deck and the ability to ask and answer any questions. So I want to reiterate that the proposed disposal No decisions have been made, and again, we are not decision makers. If the Board of Land Commissioners wish to send us in that direction, then we can put in place one constitution requires that any sale of state trust land must go to the public. So if that's what the board wants to do, then send us down that direction. If they don't, they can tell us that as well. Also, I'd like to say that I know a lot of people are very passionate about this. We're trying to run the meeting so that everybody's respectful, their comments can be heard. It's not a straw poll, it's not a debate. Again, it's just a system to take public comments. We want to hear from all of you. If you have suggestions, we want to hear that too. The most helpful comments to us are those that correct any errors you might see in the analysis that was provided online. If you want to highlight any impacts that an optional parcel have that are outside of the scope of our analysis, and any other ways the parcel can transition to the beneficiary, Wyoming, all of those things are very helpful to us and to the board. So during the public comment process tonight, what we'll do is the forms in the back, and then we'll gather them up and we'll do the meeting, and we will call them up at a time. We ask you to come to the podium and utilize the microphone. Everybody can hear what your comments are. Again, we appreciate you all taking your time tonight to be here, and we look forward to your direction and comments and questions and all of that. So I'll turn it over to that. He's going to give slide deck.
Thank you, everyone. Like the director mentioned, it's going to take a while to get to your comments quickly, but we'll provide you with a very quick summary of the transaction. So, as the director mentioned, we are the staff of the board. Constitutionally created in 1890. They are consistent of the statewide elected for the governor, the secretary of state, the auditor, state treasurer, and the superintendent of public instruction. They are have the charge of all state trusts across the whole state. That includes 3.4 million surface acres, 9 million subsurface acres for the benefit of specific beneficiaries. 86% of those lands are tied to the beneficiary. The other 14% are tied to other beneficiaries that I will show on the next slide. But in fiscal year 2023, it's important to note that $223 million from all of the acres across the whole state for the benefit of those beneficiaries. And that's close to 40% of the total education budget. These are the beneficiaries that the board manages for, which is dedicated to the school beneficiary for the Wyoming Public 12 school system. As you can see, we have a variety of other institutions that manage land for the University, Fish Hatchery, Agriculture College, the State Law Library. I'm going to go through this really quickly, so all of these slides are up on our website. You can view them in. We are the Office of State Lands and Investments, where the administrative we're made up, but Jen is the director and myself as the deputy, but also 4 divisions within the office manage all the lands and the funds coming through the office. The first one is the Trust Land Management Division. It manages all surface and subsurface leasing, as well as all real estate transactions, all renewable leasing, and management all of them across the state. Next is the Wyoming State Forestry Division. Obviously, on state trust land. They also manage fire response on state trust land and assist the counties in their fire response. They do a great job of help as well. So we have a forest. They're the individuals that will help you manage that timber resource, to sell it or create a building stands. The Field Services Division, back, they are the guys in charge of ensuring compliance across all 0.9 million acres across the state. There's 5 of those individuals that do a lot of travel. But they are boots on the ground. They also manage our but they also manage our website and all of the appraisal processes that go on with it. And our final division is the administrative services division. A lot of funds rolling through. These are the individuals that manage all those funds appropriately and promote the goals that we recommend. The Board of Land Commissioners has told us that when you're managing objectives, and they call those the trust land management objectives, and they gave us 3 of them. They approved these trust land management objectives by 2005. They told us that you need to consider these trust land management objectives for sale or some type of transaction with state trust land. But make sure you do it in priority order. 1 is 1, 2 is 3. So the first priority they gave us was to better meet the beneficiary's short and long-term objectives, revenue generation and investment value. So obviously, lease the land, we generate revenue that way. In this case, we sell land and invest money to provide additional returns to the beneficiary. So this is the trust land management objective. The second objective is to improve manageability. So if there's a way we can consolidate ownership, or less paper tied to that, that's another objective. And then if we can leverage resources of partners or things like that, we need to look at opportunities to do that as well. The final objective is to meet a specific tool. Sometimes I think it's a little bit lost. This is obviously where our public access can get to. But when this was originally developed, it was designed to help us. Jackson is obviously trapped by federal land and can't really grow. Some municipalities across the state are also trapped by. So we're looking for opportunities to allow that municipality to grow, either for sales or our own. And again, like I mentioned, this is where we can improve access by blocking some of those parcels up or creating access that didn't previously exist. We have a unique management paradigm. We're not the federal government. But we are state trust land. Lands are expected to generate revenue for the beneficiaries. That's their constitutional charge. So a lot of the time we get compared to public land, and we're not. We trust for those beneficiaries. We are not the BLM. We're not the author or the, and we don't have the same management philosophy. So a lot of times, we do contrary to them. You may be more familiar with their process. So what we use that, but it's from that standpoint that we're managing trust lands and not to optimize revenue versus their management philosophy. We are here for a possible disposal, and so it's good to go through the process that leads us to ultimate closing. So quickly, I'll run through this. First is we have a proposal. We review that proposal to see if it has any merit and objectives automatically placed on the category 1 disposal list. And then we provide it to the director. The director reviews it to see if it has to meet the trust land management objectives at all. And if it does, she has the ability to move it to the category 2 status. However, if she feels it doesn't, she can stop the process right there. Transaction doesn't go from the dotted line on the ground. In this case, obviously, the proposed disposal does have objectives. The director did move this parcel past the category 2 status. And that takes it into the office's work. We prepare a detailed analysis. You all have a detailed analysis, and if you have it, it's available online, or we can provide you with a copy. But that's the document that really digs into all of the as deep as we can get. And really gives an idea to the Board of Land Commissioners transaction looks like. We publish that detailed analysis to the public. Public comment period, which we're currently in, and as the director mentioned, expired. We receive written comments throughout that 60-day public. To us, please do so. We will compile all of those comments and provide them to them. We will also hold a public hearing, which is what we're doing here tonight. The public hearing in which the parcel sits. So thank you for having us. We appreciate it. In this case, we're having 3 others. One in Cheyenne, one in the next few weeks to solicit more public comment like this. That typically happens somewhere in the middle of the public 60-day comment. Allow the public enough time to review the detailed analysis to give us good substantive comments. Once that 60 days is up, again, we have all of the emails, all of the oral comments we receive from you and the detailed analysis, and provide them to the Board of Land Commissioners for their consideration. We expect that to happen on December 7th for this transaction. There's a dotted line after that as well. As a director, we have a decision based on our analysis, on the trust land management objectives and comments, they move the transaction forward. They could say no, the transaction stop, or the stops right there. They could tell us yes, go ahead, move forward with that transaction. If they do, then we're on to the public auction process. That's a constitutional requirement, but it also requires that you have a 30 day. So we can't sell it until we have advertised for 30 consecutive days after the board decision. At that point, all state land needs to be sold at public auction. We have winner at public auction, and then we move on to closing. So for this parcel, it comes with some. So again, this presentation is on our website, so feel free to go and grab it. But there's some important dates here that we wanted to highlight. This discussion of what to do with parcels within the Grand Teton National Park since the 90s. The late Senator Craig Thomas was successful in 108-2, which allowed the federal government to acquire all of the land in the park through donation, purchase, or exchange. We waited on that. Nothing happened after that. So in 2010, the Board of Land Commission lost a little bit of patience. And it said to the federal government, specifically the Department of Interior, that you have the authorization, we need to do something with those like revenue, we need to move forward or we're going to progress with that. Gave some interest to the department in our typical program. We were able to negotiate an agreement that allowed for terms of sale for all 4 parcels. I'll get to that in a second. Within the boundary, to be transferred to the park. Inside of that agreement, we highlight the specific appraised value or amount that it needs to be acquired for, and it needs to be acquired by. Now, I just mentioned in the process that all state land has to go to public cabinet. The legislature could step in and tell us to direct sales or to. And in this case, in 2011, the legislature followed up that agreement with legislation that allowed and granted that authority for direct sales. The Department of Interior then did its work, acquired the state only. We called it the Jackson Lake parcel in 2012, and bought it for $2,000 and completed that. And then the following year, which was another obligation within the acquired the parcel. It was surface and minerals for $16 million with that sale in January 2013. In 2014, you'll notice a theme year. The department failed to acquire the Antelope Flat. And it's simply just not funding at the time to move forward with that. And so we recognize that. We also recognize that issue to be amended. And so the Board of Land Commissioners amended that agreement in 2020. However, it put some requirements in there. It said each parcel, 82, which are the annual the Kelly's, had to be reappraised. We did that. We gave the Department of deadline of January 2016 to get that done. We also required that the state would not be for costs of the transaction. And if there was substantial administrative progress, 2016 could be extended to December 31st. And finally, if the Department of Interior failed to honor those in the agreement, the parcels would automatically go into category 1 disposal. This legislature then stepped in again, since their legislature ratified the board's agreement, extended the authority for direct sale authorization. They also created a state land exchange. They recognize that possibly the Department of Interior may not have the funds again, but they may have other lands that we can exchange for the value transaction done that way. So they created this panel to help us move forward in that effort. We worked hard for a year and a half on that process. And if you can imagine the value of the parcels, the ability for parcels to find land for exchange to, and the Department of Interior to pull in sister agencies like BLM. So that type of exchange becomes rather complicated when one person is involved. And that didn't come to fruition. In 2015, the Department of Interior decided complexities were too great, stopped any exchange conversations with this, and instead focused their attention on acquiring the flats. The legislature attempted extending the authorization and however, that attempt was failed. It didn't pass the legislature. So our authorization for direct sale expired in 2016. In 2016 as well, at the end of it, December 12, 2016, to the Department of Interior through the Water Conservation, through the acquisition, but some great donations from this community and others to the other half to make that acquisition possible. That this, I probably should bold this, we call it at the end in 16 because of the monumental effort it took to actually get that parcel transferred. Again, in 2016, all of our authorizations expired. The board has expired. All legislative authorizations for direct sale has expired. And when that happened, like I mentioned earlier, the last parcel, the Kelly parcel, based on that, was automatically placed in the category 1 disposal list. The legislature continued to do work and attempted to provide authorization again. So they introduced Senate File 119 in 2017. The legislature didn't pass that legislation, so it didn't bring the Board of Land Commissioners direct sale authorization. And then again, in 2021, the legislature introduced House on direct sale authorization. That was not successful. So we don't have that ability to do a direct transfer to the Department of Interior. Therefore, in 2021, the director felt that the disposal of met the trust land management objective, the ability to meet the trust land management objectives, and exercise her duty in moving into the category 2 disposal list February 2021. And then we were able to complete our detailed analysis with the appraisal. And we're able to publish that detailed analysis October 7th. I won't go through this. This is the history of all the parcels. The Kelly parcel specifically. I think we all know where it is, but it's a little yellow square, southeast corner of the park, Teton National Park, and then northeast corner of the National Refuge. This is how it sits in relation to the northeast corner of the state. And a zoomed in picture, and I have some maps around for everybody to see. The parcel, this one's a little busy, and so take a second. The next one kind of cleans it up a little. Here's the parcel in blue. A graphic view of it. But it also highlights the Grobon Road, which transects the parcel, provides access to it. The yellow buffer area, scenic easement, a lot of that I will get into right now. There's some important information about that scenic easement. Obviously, restricts development within the area. It is 500 feet wide, either side of the road's 200 feet wide in total. So we have a total of 1,200 feet either side of the center line. Total, we'll just say that total. 1,200 feet is covered by either the road or the scenic easement that restricts the development or access through it to get to the remaining part of the parcel. That's a total encumbrance of 156.7 foot. So just some general facts about the parcel. Again, you all have read the detail. It's 14 miles northeast of Jackson. It consists of 640 acres, surrounded by federal government land, national park, forest, and the National Elk Refuge. It is accessible by the Grobon Road. However, development is discussed. It's got just a few existing uses on the property. One, and then we have 3 temporary use permits, 2 easements. It's also important to note that the property sits within the subject of the Executive Order 2019-3 for the protection of the greater sage grouse habitat. Again, it was placed on the Category 1 disposal by the Vancouver. It's an automatic function of the expiration of the agreement. It was placed on the Category 2 list by the Director on February 18th, 2021. We anticipate the Land Commissioners considering it on December 7th. The appraisal was done. It came out at $539,000 per acre, or a total of $62,425,000. The appraisal indicated that the highest and best use were 35 house sites. It also contemplated the value of any mineral those had any value, so even with the minerals, the value stayed the same at $62,425,000. Current revenue generation off of the parcel, $1,805.65 from the grazing and agricultural lease, from the 3 temporary use permits, $40 per total annual revenue of $2,845. And this is a little bit of a busy slide, but I think it's important to show here is what is the difference between holding that property for an additional 10 years or selling it now, and what would be your expected returns 10 years out. So again, we have the appraised value at $625,000. As you have read in the detailed analysis, there is a rate. We had started with the low end. All pasture land in the state of Wyoming, and that's about 3.2%. Compared to the high end, which is here in Teton County, is 7%. Now, this is an average. It's not every property. Some may be lower, some may be much higher. But this is the average that we can pull from the appraiser's data, which shows that if we were to hold it, the lower appreciation rate for the next 8 years, plus the $2,800 a year annual revenue, the beneficiaries can expect a $22 million return, up to a $42 million return. Now, this is holding it. This is the understanding that the parcel appreciate. It's important to note appreciation is largely speculative. You only realize appreciation on sale. So that is dollars in the beneficiary's pockets. It's just value and is accepted. So we need to compare that with if you were to dispose the property and invest those funds with the state invested into the common school permanent land fund, how much would that bring back? They estimate their earnings 6.4% the land fund, which would return over 10 years to the beneficiaries, $30 million, $20 million. That is money that would be immediately distributed to the beneficiaries of legislative formula. So again, the difference is this is the intended increase in value to the property, not in the pockets of the beneficiaries. This is what we'd expect to put in the pockets of the beneficiaries over the 2 years. And with that, that's a very quick summary of the transaction. This is the portion of the show. Yeah. So please, if anybody has any questions, please raise your hand.
If there were 2 bidders in similar shade, one has a lower bid that maybe has better returns, what are they considering? Is it pure wood or
So
That's the question, we can't hear her.
I'll state the question. It's a good. If we have 2 bidders at the auction, one they might be the highest bid, another brings less to the table with a higher bid, which we do choose. The Constitution requires that the auction bring the highest possible proceeds. But leading into the auction, all of the bidders vetted, they're not necessarily vetted on how much of a quality person they are, but do they have the funds? Are they good for the funds? Do they bring the money to the transaction? And that's really what it's about.
If the state wanted to sell directly to the park, and when we go back and have our Congress pass the building in, before we can do a direct sale to the park.
Yeah, so the question is, if we were to direct sale to the organization to do that by the legislature, the answer to that is yes.
You would not need authorization to engage in exchange. So what is happening with any forms of exchanges? Number 2, you don't need authorization to lease the land. What is the impediment to long-term conservation lease that would generate a lot of revenue and hold on to this crown jewel?
And a good question. The question was, we don't need authorization to redistribute. Authorization to lease, and that is we do that through more regulation processes. Those proposals are not in front of us today. Provided with that opportunity. We've gone through that effort, exchange everything past and that didn't work out. So at this point, this transaction is just like the proposed disposal. All of those options are still on the table and could still be done, but we don't know what a proposed disposal looks like as well.
When you talk about the land not having mineral value, what we've done in the process.
Good question. So the question was, we raised on the cases of minerals don't have any value. They have it determined. I'm not sure I know all of the work that he did to determine that value with the brings a lack of material trying to find known minerals in the area for development. I know that access criteria, he looked at somebody actually getting in there and explore that market. He went through some efforts that's highlighted in the appraisal.
Before the auction, is someone that's interested in purchasing at the auction required to give you background information or to prove that they can acquire this property?
Yes, the question was before the auction, whoever participates in the auction is required to provide information whether they're a qualified bidder. And the answer to that is yes. We anticipate utilizing it if we're going to move forward process to ensure the funds are available from the entity that they can make that structure.
Can a developer build access roads through the city?
The question was, can a developer build access roads? I am not an attorney. What I can tell you is our management of the property has stopped us from building any roads to that city. We feel like we can't. This one.
You said that you normally give a public hearing before you dispose, but in this case, we're holding public hearings for 3 other counties. What's your thinking and purpose in doing that?
The question was, our requirement is to only hold holding through others. The thought is, this is a very important parcel. This is an important parcel. It's not just important to the people of Teton County, it may be important to others across the state. And it has a very large fiduciary impact of solar. So we want to understand statewide what individuals and what the public think about that transaction.
If you can't build access through the scenic easement, that's great value.
If you can't build access through the scenic easement, does that depress? I'm not in crazy mind. Luckily, I don't mobilize these little drinkers. So, his estimation, the highest and best use would be property to be built out in 35-acre home sites or greater. He did not look at how to get to those. That would be
Once the state sells the land, then who does the fiduciary contract?
the question was, once the state sells the land, who is?
Who would decide what code supply, what LDR supply?
Great question. Yes, so it depends on who the buyer is. Who the buyer is. So there's private land, whatever private land is subject to, is another of the
And into
As it relates to cost of infrastructure, improving housing, or center out the land, you essentially would be responsible for the cost.
As far as infrastructure to develop and to put all of that, we're responsible for those costs. I think that's outside of the scope of what we influence. So I would say it's whoever the new owner is, whoever developer of that property.
Why is it important that this come up for auction?
Why is it important for this to come up for auction? As I mentioned in the timeline, this has been an evolving process. We have done a lot of steps that have led us to today. And without direct stamp authorization, the other thing the board is not going to consider to optimize the revenue from this asset is possibly a public auction. So that is what has brought us to today. And we have appraisal, we have completed the detailed analysis, and rather than put those documents on a shelf, we've provided them to the board.
But the state has not identified a need for the money.
The state has not identified a need for the revenue. I don't think the state ties a need to all of the revenue streams that we have. The beneficiaries who benefit from those need that. So as I mentioned, revenue from state lands across the board provides 60% of the WA, provides income to the education system, and that is our beneficiary, and our charge is to continue to live in various times those assets to those beneficiaries.
So if I heard you correctly, you said that the assessor did not mineral, and because they didn't, as far as extracting how you can transport them. But as in this, the 35 acre parcels with no access to it. Is that?
So let's see if I can restate that. So the appraiser did not, that would be the
Right.
However, he did value for the high school best use the access component. I'm going to answer that after moving first.
I'm not sure if anybody from the forces is here, but I did do work on research. And so I believe that even with the city, the federal government is required to give reasonable access to the owner of private land, that they would have to cross that federal land. So my guess is that that's not as big of a hospital.
So I'm assuming that's a question. I heard say, do you agree? So that the federal government, they do to provide access to importers within federal refuge. And we believe that is possible. Well, I agree, and I agree. So the question is, approval through, access approval through federal land doesn't just like environmental review such as NEPA, but that could be costly.
Is there a process for a qualified auction? Who can participate?
The question was, is there a process to ensure that qualified bidders can be auction? Yes, this process is rather unique. We don't sell property every day. We don't sell property elections every day. So we're utilizing, or looking at utilizing a third party to help us in that process, to run people through and then making sure that they have the wherewithal and qualify as a qualified bidder to participate in the auction before we can actually participate.
Was there any kind of infrastructure impact study conducted if in fact the developer does buy that?
The question was there an infrastructure impact study done in case they ended up purchasing that? And that's outside of the scope of what we're looking at. We don't have direct set authorization. We don't know exactly where the person could go. And we could run a lot of tests to understand what the impacts would be for every single one. We kind of, and that's outside of the scope of how we dispose of it.
When the appraisal was done, I mean, anyone else was sort of shocked that an acre of land with 15 TTVs would be approved? I'd like to buy one.
And again, the question was, when was the appraisal done? So the appraisal has an effective date of 2021. July of 2021. And he utilized as many comparables as he could find with that highest and best use. Knowing that he was looking at this 38 parcel, not a much smaller. On the value. And yes, our detailed analysis is predicated on that value. We edited that appraisal to our appraisal staff, and we feel it meets all of the standards for professional practice. Knowing that the federal government is part of this conversation as well, they also vetted that appraisal for certain their standards and feel like the numbers used were fair and appropriate for the type of work they were presenting. The question was, is there a prohibition or a conflict of interest review? And I don't know if I can answer that directly. Our Constitution does speak to the ability for board members to acquire lands. The question was, what are the options that the public has to right now, an auction is not approved. They're simply providing input and information the board of county commissioners to make their decision. So if you feel a public option would be wrong, would be detrimental to the economy, to the neighborhood, would not be to the benefit of the beneficiaries, the board of county commissioners needs that comment to help them make a good decision.
What are the options? What are the options that we have? Stop it.
Again, the question was, what are the options? I don't know if I can provide any more. I'm not, and we are only giving you the process that we're left with for the Constitution.
I kind of put a different spin on that question. What are the options for the land, and I think it's been covered, but what are the options for the land to end up with conservation ownership and for parking?
So the spin was, how can we direct who owns it, who? No, if we have a way to, the parcel has been appraised with a certain set of rights and with a certain value, and change to that would cause that appraisal to not over the ballot, which could cause a problem in the starting process. So, and the integrity of the auction would probably have some process as well. So. And to move on to the comments and get out of the questions, so we can hear from you all with one or two more questions.
What is the role of the legislative potential if there wasn't brought forward and passed? Would that occur in kind of a manner that would stop the auction?
So the question was, with the process of the proposed disposal underway, the legislative process with the legislators. At this time, at least the process isn't predicated on a need for any legislative authorization. So we're not making the legislature to help us move forward.
My question is, can the legislature still stop this? Don't we have this to be presented to the board in December prior to the session?
Right. So can the legislature stop this process? I can't speak to what the legislature can do. Our full powers. If they wanted to convene in a special session and pass something before the board of commissioners, with some consideration or action on this transaction, they could do that. At this time, it appears as though the board may make a decision before the legislature can set. All right, last one.
If a process for evaluating what the land is worth of its development, that is the scope system. But why can't the Office of State Lands also do an evaluation of what the value of that land is going to be for school kids if it's left alone and not developed? That's not going to be considered.
So the question was, we understand the value of the property based on what, but we haven't done an analysis to the school kids as the beneficiaries if they look at the maintenance, state ownership. That's correct. But I guess we don't have a good way to value and the appreciation. Appreciation doesn't come with the property books of the school kids.
You're still thinking of in terms of dollars. I'm thinking about education.
So the question was, we're thinking in terms of dollars, and you're right, we are guilty of that. It's hard to monetize that unconditional benefit. So we would appreciate the comments you have to that end to know what that value could
Value, loss, and economy
worldwide visitors come here to see iconic wildlife. Development would seriously impact wildlife. What about that?
So the question was, did we value the impact to? We did, and that's outside of the scope of our mission. We are to look at the benefits of trees for this person. We would love a comment on what that impact is and how, again, what exactly could be.
Okay, thanks, everybody. I think we'll move from the questions into the comment period. So let's just take a 5-minute break. If you have more, if you already feel bad, want to bring it up here or to the table back, we'll collect those now. If you want to make a comment, or any kind of, do so. right, we have the room until 7:30, so we will do our best to get through as many comments as we can. We have quite a stack here of comments, so we're going to try to limit comments to 3 minutes per person. We ask that you stay focused on the Kelly and personal disposal, listen to and respect everybody's viewpoints. You can even use the term ditto, that's an acceptable comment. And please refrain from saying what the person ahead of you said, just in the interest of conserving time so that we can get to everybody who wants to come. So with that said, we will start with John Turner. Into the microphone, please hold the mic up to your, close to your mouth so that we can hear it on the Zoom, so that those who are joining us virtually can hear your comments. Thank you.
Is it on? Well, Jennifer, thank you for and the state land board, governor board, and elected officials wanting to put most of us up here in Northwest Territories. As a former legislator, I think we all need to be aware of the state land office and state land commission mandate our constitution to look at these plans, have options which maximize revenue for water restoration. Taking that in mind, my comments are if the board decides to disposal. I submit there are some parameters in alignment if it benefit Ramsey Park and the people of Wyoming. These 4 parameters I'll cover briefly. One is we have an opportunity to bring long-term action to the well-being of the Wyoming most important income resources, Ramsey Park. And 3 million visitors that come to provide millions of dollars tax funding to the state, joining counties, by thousands of jobs and people across the country, and great benefits to the integrity of Ramsey. We have an opportunity for that. Second, you can see we have available resources and willingness for the board to consider a conservation transaction. And that has to also be true. Many people know that conservation competitive, great competition between public land agency and park service, a lot of fierce competition. Personally had experience with the research on their parcels, we generously worked with us to see what became. It took years to write this thing. That today, because of Rob Walter and others, we have a great American Outdoors Act, Union hospital for conservation transaction. And of course, seems to be some conservation benefits. The parameter, I certainly realize, former chairman of the Education Committee, I think a really good boost to the permanent use. And the return situation showed, I think they're a nice boost. The fourth one is I think we have enough to solidify in perpetuity values around that landscape. That's great. Spur product habitat. That track sits right on the main corridor migration for the northern governments and totally. And an opportunity to solidify the guarantee for the state of Wyoming Department of Management Protection. So I'm just confident in conclusion that the people of Wyoming don't want to be part of a legacy with this state. The goals of land became developed with private major intrusion in Ramsey. I don't think any of us people across the street want to see that beautiful landscape park with a few select start with the light, signs, the fencing, and so forth. So hopefully all work together with elected officials in your office to ensure that the further northern portal pathway of the Chronicle stay safe and productive. So that after those donations further along the roadway, the future generations will be. I think that we have an option that meets the mandate that says effectively manage natural resources from the present future generations. Thank you.
Jenkins, Superintendent of Grand Teton National Park.
Good evening, Chip Jenkins, Superintendent of Grand Teton National Park. Thank you for Wyoming. Thank you for Scholars, Deputy Director, and Office of Land and Investments for coming to Teton County today back to the University. First, I want to point out that Grand Teton National Park employees are Wyoming. We have kids. We recognize and value the quality education that the people provides for our kids and our families. We also recognize the role that state trustees play in terms of financing and providing for that education, and we are appreciative of that. The National Park Service is also, we are really concerned about inappropriate development. And in fact, it was 100 years ago this year that community leaders in this town, people who own businesses, were concerned about poverty development. Those were their words. 100 years ago. They were concerned that that development was going to damage or destroy very values that brought them and people as tourists in this area. They actually called upon the superintendent of Yellowstone at the time to meet with them to have a conversation about what can be done preserving having discussed about this place. It was out of that, out of those conversations that the idea of being able to acquire where development would be inappropriate was created. And over the last 100 years, hundreds, if not thousands of people have participated in the acquisition of parcels. Development is not appropriate, ultimately creating Grand Teton National Park. As you know, as you presented, the state of Wyoming has been a partner in that. There was a group of state parcels in the Grand Teton, and thanks to a great collaboration and important partnership, we have been able to acquire all at the same time providing substantial for school kids, substantial support for teachers and students. And now that brings us to the Kelly an opportunity that. And the thing about the Kelly parcel is it's not just about in this valley, it's actually elsewhere in Wyoming. If you care about hunting Concord outside Pinedale, if you care about the continuation of Summit River, the Summit River goes through the parcel from the bay to here to this valley summer. It works to it. If you care about deer, there are parts of the deer from the Wind River Reservation goes they come here to the valley, they head back to the winter. And so, as we are, the National Park Service stands ready to work in collaboration and partnership, figure out a way to be able to provide revenue for schools, prevent development, and to have this serve part of the park. What's awesome is that we have a great track record of having worked together between the Park Service and the state. That track record has been able to increase, improve, and income generation that has come from the fund. There's also the no other state, all over 48 has Wyoming wildlife. So together we've done this before. Together we can do this again. We look forward to working. Right.
Yes, would you please come to the microphone?
Thank you for the opportunity to comment. I would like to thank I support both of what their proposals are. And my comment was simply to, again, for conservation, to protect this important wildlife corridor, everything that you mentioned as far as Bruce, the elk. This is really unique to this area, and it's clearly within the boundary right now of Grand Teton, and I think we need to continue that. In fact, we've had this example, this precedent, this partnership in the past, should give confidence to the state lands commission that this can move forward and satisfy both goals.
Thank you. Beverly Hoover, did I say that right? I'm sorry if I. Thank you.
Can I?
Sure.
Hello, my name is Sunny Hoover. I was born in Wyoming. I was raised in Cali. I'm very close to be raised in Cali, I think. There's profound ugliness all around. And disposal is the key word, like disposal. This land cannot be disposed of. Wilderness is now a necessity. We need refuge for the wildlife. We need voices from our community. For those who do not speak or relinquish. People who care for the defenders of this land. Boundaries of man-made structured hard asphalt power lines, these are not we do not understand. Profound ugliness. We forgot where we came from. We are all wild. We regard this land. Please keep the Kelly parcel quiet. That's all.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm a lawyer, fifth generation Wyomingite, grew up in oil patch, Casper, like this. This is special land, we all know it. In fact, I would say this is probably the crown jewel of the Wyoming state lands. It's like a bit of a sin to call it inventory when you think about all of the efforts people made to protect this land over the last how many years. People were devoting their lives to working this land and making this incredibly good experience for people to come to. So I think our generation has a responsibility to do everything we can to make sure the jewel of the state lands inventory is not auctioned off like any other piece of land. This is special. Your trustee, you're not trustee, but the land board, they are trustees, have a fiduciary duty. And it's not simply to generate as much money as fast as we can for the beneficiaries. If you're a trustee, and your beneficiary came to you and said, I want money, you would ask, why do you need the money? He has identified any reason why we need to generate $63 million right now for the schools. We all support the schools, all the kids in the schools. But number one, there needs to be a decision that this money is necessary. Before you settle it off, goodness, don't you look at every other possible opportunity seriously, including a land exchange with the federal government, which envelopes in a flat situation ultimately resulted
in Azalea to the US government. Took some time. And the other option is for conservation lease. It doesn't lease and protect it for our generation. Let the next generation deal with it. Hold on to the asset, we generate a bunch of money for the schools, and we've done our part. But don't, I sure hope that you all, as the staff, for the board, does everything you can do to make sure this doesn't happen. The state legislature doesn't wash your around on this. I know there's a lot of crap arousing going on down there. But you have what is it that you need to not do this? I'm hoping you won't. Thank you.
Andre D. I was gonna say, if you don't want to read it, I can certainly put it in the file that you take to the board. Alright. Next, we have Patrick Dominic.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to comment. Great comments. You came here tonight to learn, and I did learn the process from background in the process, finance and so forth. And it was somewhat disappointing because nowhere in that process, they did not even get the wildlife, the water, the natural environment. It's unfortunate, I understand the process, but I hope that the way and our federal government come together and make amends for a process that is somewhat sterile. And I thank you for your job, but I hope that we will together to find this parcel for our community. Thank you.
Garcia, I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. Jonathan, you are here. Go ahead, next. Mark, or excuse me, Max. Livingston.
Thank you. Mr. Director, thank you for having come up this part of the state. We really appreciate the communication in this process. I would start by saying, John Turner, Chip Jenkins. I think what I'd like to add, though, is the reason that there are conservation parcel right now is about managing it. And it's managed in a way that is supported all wildlife rights and in the way that is supported agriculture on this parcel. There are two really key industries here in the state, and particularly in this part of the state. For the drivers economy, the history of this region, and they continue to be really important parts of this economy. I think there's tremendous opportunity to protect those. I think the state has done a tremendous job in the past of upholding conservation value at a great track record. We engaged in a number of conservation easements, which have conservation transactions, some of which are referenced tonight. We granted but also a number of others. So I think there's a long history of state seeing value in conservation, and I would encourage you to continue to work on conservation in this part. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Director and Deputy Director, thanks again for the opportunity to comment. I do want to echo the sentiments of all the public comments before me. And today I'm going to come and speak as an ecologist who has just spent the last decade at the Kelly campus of the Teton Science, which is a short walk north of this Kelly State parcel. And so I know firsthand the wildlife you use in these lands: grizzly, elk, deer, badgers, beaver, sage grouse, bald eagles, golden eagles, goshawk, porcupine, gray horn, coyote, fox, skunk, pronghorn, cougars, wolves. I can go on. These are just the charismatic wildlife that I saw out there. And these critters are going to be the true losers if this land is so subdivided. Further, hunters and anglers stand to lose access and unparalleled sporting opportunities in this precious land. And lastly, the people before you, the people of Wyoming, will lose a piece of land that is much more undeveloped and open than will ever be more subdivided. So I applaud your worthy mission to raise funds for education, and comes with serious risk that this habitat will be converted to a neighborhood. So I'm confident that there are ways to raise community funds for our school children, while also wildlife habitat. And the true win for the people and the wildlife. So I want to thank you as a staff, I want to thank the board for keeping this land to the public out of the hands of those who develop it. Thank you.
Director, Deputy Director, we're on this way to see what we have to say about county. As you know, this is a very important issue to everybody in the community, and it's something that is near and dear to our hearts here, and our economy here, and everything we care about. And not only do we care about this, but I want the state of Wyoming to remember that people come from all over the world to see this really special place. There's no other place they ran to. And the other thing to remember is that once development happens, we never go back. It's working down to return that to wilderness areas. Houses are being built, and they're going to stay there, and they're going to fragment things. And as a representative of Advocates for Wildlife, I represent tonight the elk and the bears and wolves and all those species that Kevin mentioned that aren't here, that can't come here and speak to you, but they can out there and see existing this property. And that's their home. And we have one of the most valuable things in the entire world here. Wyoming has designated that as an important resource that they want to preserve and to allow this piece of property to be auctioned off and donate it out. That would ruin that resource forever. So, to reiterate that, unless I ask that the state not put this up for auction, until there's a point that they can make their sale to Granite National Park. Catherine Nyra.
Hi, I'm Kathy Nyra, and I'm from Wilson. I represent a group of local members of citizens for the responsible use of state lands, also known as CRUSL. We urge the Office of State Lands and State Planning Board to not recommend a competitive auction of the Kelly parcel. We support a negotiated transaction that the parcel will remain in the national park. Many have spoken about what a unique treasure the Kelly parcel is, so I won't reiterate all of that. But to say that we would do everything that said previously. In addition, though, I would like to bring up a couple of questions for the State Board of Land Commissioners. Why is our board specifically up for auction now? I understand it's been a process that's been underway for years, but it is truly unique in the holdings of the state. The question of blind just comes to all of us. And the other question is, what does it make sense to auction off this most valuable section without an overall management plan for the entire 4 million acres that are managed by the LSC plans? And it's been a little bit of, but there has been commercial development on state lands around the city. And I wonder what the plan is, the overall management plan is for all parcels. And to the point of if this does reach an auction, I would urge that there be an opportunity to better understand the vetting process by the public. Process. So thank you very much for coming up here today, Deputy Director Andrew. We really appreciate it. We share the state land board's desire to increase funding for this vital system, and we believe that there are ways to increasing the funding other than private hands. Very much.
Howdy, thank you. I have everything everybody else has said, but I don't put a little different spin on it. I'm standing here elementary school tonight, where both my son and my daughter are. It's the same elementary school. My parents graduated from the Wyoming public school system. All of my grandparents graduated from the Wyoming public school system. And some of my great-grandparents. The Wyoming public school system is a big part of my family's history and our future. The important thing in life, and most of my kids in my life, spend the majority of their time in the public schools. We're lucky. I know how good our public schools in Teton County, Wyoming are. It's all education system is something all Wyomingites could agree on. I also know there are some economic realities. You need money to run schools. That is why I'm here. Your job is to generate money off of state lands to pay for our children's education. It's a very important job. But the future of our children depends on more than their education. We have to make sure that they grow up in. I can say with a fairly high certainty that the state land of Teton County getting sold to the highest bidder is not in our children's best interests. Like many folks in this room, I have a personal connection to the state lands in Teton County. And what it has done for me. When I was growing up, 4-H was a big part of our life. Several years, we bought our 4-H calves from the Taylor Ranch. The Taylor Ranch is on the south side. For the past generation, the late Glenn Taylor raised the best 4-H calves in Teton County. In the summer, those cows grazed on the Kelly Parcel. I have distinct memories of bouncing around in a pickup truck around the Kelly Parcel with my dad, my brother, and Glenn Taylor picked out a 4-H calf for me. In fact, I remember picking out the best cat I ever owned, a black baldy standing on the parcel next to his mother. I ended up growing that calf into a steer, and I won reserve champion at the county fair. I took to the state fair where he did well. That calf taught me respect, how to work hard, and he was a big part of my education. It's not just me. There are hundreds of kids in this community that raised Taylor Ranch calves and were educated by those calves, and those folks are in our community protecting our kid values today. Another fact I am proud of is Grand Teton National Park is the only park in elk hunting and crop. That is because these uses existed on the land before the federal government came to town. The park realized that these uses were embedded in the Teton County community. I would say the Grand Teton National Park is a good neighbor and partner to the members of our community. For the Kelly parcel, there's a win-win on the table. Sell the land, buy the park. The state land realizes the economic benefit, and the land remains in our kids' hands. As a I personally try to follow the code of the West. One of the principles is remember some things are not for sale. I am pretty sure that these lands and our children's future is one of the things
Next we have Jake Hutton.
Good evening, folks. If you don't know me, my name is Jake Hutton. I own and operate JH Outfitting Company that helps very hard working talented crew of cowgirls, cowboys, and well-mannered horse herders and couple of good dogs. We offer custom family trail rides to a 7-course locally sourced fine and I'll be telling you. Our horses now race. And Dr. here was just talking. Disposal. So while we are here, it's time to take this piece of pure Wyoming and dispose of it. That's an interesting word. Mr. Webster defines it as the action of throwing away, getting rid of something. The definition is the sale of shares, property, or other assets. If that's the case, perhaps because the first definition is better fit. I've sat there with horses over my life. I have plenty of things that seem to go. Right? One thing to see, I would incinerate to send down the drain of this country. Growing up, I traveled all over the Quality State, riding saddle broncs, and participated in your life. I've driven 90s Ford Pinto from Jackson to South America and spent emergency out there. I've driven both sides of this country many times over there, but each time I found something I can. Well, I was not born in Jackson, I was away from home. I understand the value of special place. I grew up in Johnson County, off east of the Mountains, an area deeply rooted in agriculture and heritage. Legends such as Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid frequent this area. My refuge in the countryside, when you access horseback, even then, when they're not great, get out if you're sure where you're in. In 1902, when we started the first in the Western Christian novel, Virginia, based on the wedding to the Southeast Suite Hotel, which is still in operation today. Encouraging you to escape here. County for the Western movie book, John Wayne takes you to enjoy. And so to tell you, in Western great culture, I grew up surrounded by. I find myself frustrated at times in Jackson because unlike Johnson County, I would return to spread out any bit of Western cricket has left. That is what I'm looking in the first place. I'm an outfitter, a ferry, and EMT on ski patrol winners. No job. No part of the line. My word has always meant something. I live in a man's handshake behind it means even more. Deals in my life are carefully closed with trust in another man's word. And through that, it's contractual. I signed a 5-year contract with State last year. They also signed. I should have confidence in that transaction for the next 5 years. But I would be a handshake was surely the official documents from the state carried on. Perhaps I'm wrong about something. The state then proceeded to sign a new 5-year contract under a Teton mountain bike trip. I called myself Robinson today to hold the temporary use permits out there. It's starting in September. Tell us the parcel for disposal. Take the time for the next 6 days, and then it would go public at 8 a.m. I don't know about you, but that seems like a pretty clean handshake to me. I'm proud to say that in my use, this is the best it has been. We're glad to watch, we've got more grass for wildlife than ever before. There's no rain, we don't see the high up different taking the sunrise. Black here, oak here, grizzly bear occasionally. But none of that is mentioned, we still have detailed analysis of the spot. We turn around and see the old timers that took time out of their day to show up and post this. Myself and my crew invested time and money to redo the fence line that separates the cattle. We did the entire wall of the fence to coexist with wildlife and hold down our horse. We dropped wire to wildlife, we placed the speed wire. We placed flags behind the wire so we would safe trails, so not blinded. We looked for our neighbors on the east for national foresters. We ran the fence line back on the property line, previously off by nearly 1 mile. The eastern fence line comes down the fall now, the way easier passage for wildlife. Ground operation cattle business. It's allocated for around 300 heavy cattle. Cattle can be lazy. Fast, they grouped up large herds. The multi-chain stomach and their pieces not break down fast. Much like buffalo fast, it's settlers for out west. Cow pies are hard taking. Horses, however, have one slimmer and their pieces break down in years. Horses also grow cattle for to graze at the top of the big hill just to do it. Instead of grazing 3 head of cattle, we graze 23 horses. And it's we organized the wildlife and positive impact we got to see with every day each wildlife side. All the species came back. Prior to our fence repairs, the cattle would wander out and graze on Grand Teton National Park. I'm proud to say that my herd never once trespassed on Peter Davis land. Yet we continue grazing for the We have to ask ourselves, what are the state priorities here selling this land? We read come off the school section the best way to see it. I'm also aware that oil and gas revenue used to provide much of that income is no longer there. We know that since I was a child, income in jeopardy. And we seek out new ways to capitalize on this parcel. I thought that's what we think we could. I offered every member of the board that would put on this initiative an opportunity to come up with to see why this land is valuable. The so-called 59-page detailed analysis is the same couple of photos about 7 times. There's entire businesses in this town that specialize in real estate property photography. We're going to put something on the auction for $62 million, which I think is undervalued, but at least take the time to get a decent photo. And I think the first and front of my office, Chuck Green, our Secretary of State. I think it's perhaps disposal of the proper word what the state plans to do here. That business is eco-friendly green winery heritage tourism, which should be supported by the state. This is what our community is built on. As the next generation of this town, I find myself, I get a lot of when State Jackson lives in soul. I think that's true, or don't think that's true. It sure has become harder for the past video. That being said, I've never had a greater sense of scale and community than I have in this town. Still, real estate prices not they were cheap to start with, opportunities are hard to come by. Permits for just about anything have been maxed out, and coming up with something is hard. But Jay Tucker, we did just that. We figured out a way to take a group of grazing lease and get it better than it was before us. We figured out a way to keep wild heritage that's perfectly received in this town alive. I think is the show church why this land is perfect. If you know anything about conservation, you will show the general public why I said Jay Tucker did such a good job of that. Numerous clients that we've had take the time every day to block about saving Kelly Park back and not the opportunity for that. I urge our elected officials to reconsider this sale. Too much tenderness. I'm aware that there's hope that Park will revive to help investors. It might be underestimated welcome. Some group of developers will see 16 million steel chop it up in a trophy. And that's the last thing she talked about. Furthermore, if it goes public, the Grand Teton National Park and many recreational uses will activities such as hunting, walking dog, driving the two-jack, taking a sunset, great permits. The resident, this is our land, and it should stay that way. Also, as a product of school systems, a young entrepreneur in town, I urge you to try to give me a second chance to make a business here.
On time, we have the room until 7:30, so we'll get through as many as we can. So we just asked you to stay focused and succinct. Sue Laurie.
Like the others, I want to say thank you for holding this hearing for us. Trying to put this in the interest of greatly possible, I would say. Ditto to Mr. Prim, ditto to Mr. Jenkins, Mr.
before, so I thought that I do about conservation lease. So I am possibly willing would be also urging you to rise to the highest level of fiduciary responsibility here, because the fiduciary is defined is not defined so for financial issues. The Merriam-Webster dictionary, in fact, defines any situation in which one person justifiably is confident and trust in someone else and sees that person's help and advice in some kind of mutual help. Without going too far into repeating what other people have said, you know, my knee has to be literally on the book, and that is the Wyoming Fish issued a threat evaluation recently. The draft is already under threat. The draft runs through the so the threat to it will be increased as a result of it. It's also in core habitat area. Population is also under threat. We have a unique population here in Jackson that is limited. And if disturbance on that site, which is law, reduces recruitment, that's a population out as well. So I think we have things here that are valuable, not only to the citizens of Wyoming, and I understand to ensure that school funding is appropriate. But it seems to be working really hard if there's any way to either, I heard you say you cannot place restrictions on that. You cannot restrict your conservation buyers, is that correct? Okay, I'm just wondering if there might be some way to slow this down and maybe think about the weekly. So, and that's WBN. Weekly for those who step forward to buy. We put a rate on minutes. Again, it's wildlife values, it's recreational values, it's part of, in terms of Grand National Park. So I think there's an avenue to rise to that, and I think there's a way when we talked about the return on investment, we can achieve the regional funded parcel, and at the same time, save things that are absolutely precious and irreplaceable for us. And as far as our custom, that is a win, and that should be something all of us feel really good about in terms of legacy as a result of this.
Thank you, Leslie Matson, Grand Teton National Park Foundation. Thank you very much for coming here. Thanks for our community's great passionate landscapes and wildlife side here. I just want to say a couple of things. You know, John Turner, thank you for allowing me to lead off of the town and our partner, Jenkins. I run Grand Teton National Park Foundation. The Kelly parcel is the most important inventory in the National Park Service. We think today, for sure. We very much recognize your fiduciary responsibility for benefiting our schools, and I think we're the one parents and that's so particularly. We all care about education, so trying to put process values is important. My organization has experience providing financial value as well as wildlife value, the other values residents both here. And we stand ready to our partner to step up and try to make that happen. I think you will also hear around the state those values are important. It's just going to be a Teton County thing. You can hear that from Jordan, hunters, etc. So we're here, we stand ready to help you. And thank you again for coming. We are an entrepreneurial organization, and which is same with a partner, but we are committed to make this happen for the benefit of our community, state, and the United States. It's not just here, but we all know how much people So thank you again.
Thank you, and sorry again for the bad attendance, Jeff. And I'd also like to thank you for coming up and putting up with some people that are different. But I'm a recovering anti-germ conservationist a couple of years ago. And I think we're also the history of animal plants and earlier tries to get to conservation of this particular parcel. When that happened, you remember that the House Speaker, Kermit Brown, was quoted saying, "We want to see the greatest amount of political scorn rain down in the state that you ever seen. Just put this in an auction situation." We absolutely need to scorn the nation and we never recover from it. We need to be smarter than that. And what's a Republican housing. So what's happened since then? Real estate prices have exploded in Jackson Hole. We are now the richest county in America. Billionaire wilderness has become a thing. And the auction of the Kelly could bring in a billionaire real estate speculator. I think Yellowstone Club on steroids. I think Joe Ricketts, who a place called Little Jackson Hole, which is a thing that he created. But we only need one of those to screw this up in a environment. And it's important that doesn't happen because the response of such an auction outcome this time would be very similar to what Speaker Curtin recommended in 2016. Let's make that happen. Let's find a see if we can get the election done and get a conservation fire. Looking at my friendship here. But we need to do better as a state and as a community. Thank you.
Next is.
Thank you for being here tonight. I just wanted to say that there's many options for this land, one of which is a conservation park, that sort. And if we had to sell it, I believe it should be sold to the park. It's simply just a beautiful view, beautiful land. I've been out there, I've been into the Vermont wilderness, it's an exceptional piece of land. Also, if, because of past comments and what it is and our tourism industry here, we believe the Grand Teton National Park and other out there are best, the best ones to really steward this. And if anything, hopefully not built out, but maybe it to a branch or a working branch, because right down the road, further in the Vermont, and that's only 100 acres. So 640 acres is a lot of land that can be used correctly by owners, by the park to create and continue what tourism in this area is and inclusive.
Next, I believe is Jared Recker.
Good evening, Director. Good evening, Director Scotty and Mr. Carter. Thank you for traveling across the state.
Still not on.
Battery might be dead. I'll see what that. I'm Jared Becker, here representing Greater Yellowstone Coalition, Island Conservation Coordinator. GYC represents constituents across Maryland, aims to value and protect lands and waters, wildlife, and Yellowstone ecosystems. Generating revenue from Wyoming schools is critical for our shared future. The Board of Land Commissioners have a unique responsibility for schools. We can do that with the direct sales of the Kelly Parcel Grants National Park. Wyoming schools can receive a significant portion of funding, land and water conservation funds, ways that are available. Grand Teton National Park is clearly a little higher. The Board of Land Commissioners can fulfill its fiduciary obligations to the Board of Land Values, protecting our public land, water, wildlife, while responsibly making the outdoors available and accessible for all to respectfully share in processes like fishing and recreation, and ensure that they're in good condition when they're passed down to future generations of Wyoming. If the Land Commission chooses to auction the Kelly parcel, it is likely that public access, wildlife migration routes, and opportunities will also be covered. The Greater Yellowstone Coalition and our members urge the Board of Land Commissioners to withhold an auction of the Kelly parcel. The risk of auction is risky. Pursuing mechanisms for direct sales of the national park benefits Wyoming's children today and tomorrow. It benefits Wyoming's people birds. It protects the vulnerable path of the world. It honors Wyoming's conservation legacy. In Wyoming, we're proud to be the home of the first national park. We're proud to be the home of the first national forest and the first national monument. So let's just sell the Kelly parcel to Grand Teton National Park. It's simple. It's just a no to the auction at this time. Thank you.
Paul.
Sorry, I missed that real quick. My name is Paul Hanson. Thank you for coming. Northwest Wyoming has always played a fundamental role in American conservation. First National Park, poaching Portland, Act, which is 1900, which is still used worldwide to combat poaching. National Elk Refuge is the first refuge to be large donations from the American people. That was bought by the city as well. The challenge and opportunity of our time is to compete for. We work together in Antelope Flats, and we urge you to, it's something we all be proud of here. This community cares about schools. We're about to send $80 million to Cheyenne to help educate kids in other parts of the state. We send over 50 million here in sales taxes. This all comes from our natural amenity. So please don't undermine that natural economy and help us work to keep this part of the park. Thank you.
Next is, it looks like Ruth Tyler Glass. Good evening, and first of all, to everybody, everything that everyone said. I thank you both for. I want to take a moment to commend everyone in this room and in our community. I think this that each is example of the thoughtful consideration that people give to ideas that they're not necessarily embracing, and we have come up with a number of plans for the legislature to consider. My father bought a ranch here, property here in 1925. In 1949, he sold a portion to John D. Rockefeller with the express provision that it would become part of the Teton National Park. I think at that point there were objections in the local that they did not have that chance to produce a party. I don't think anyone at this point would object. When you go through the park entrance on Bruce Wilson Road, you walk about half a mile, and then all of that. So I come from a family, my brother and John Turner used to compete against each other in the Teton, in the June Ranchers Rodeo. We worked there for a long time. I don't have any new idea other than to and to beg and our grandchildren's grandchildren. We will not get this property back. And for me, I think of millions of children who have come through Grand Park, as well as our own local students. The education that they take away to every corner of the globe is what they've seen in terms of animals, what they've seen in terms of country, what they've seen in terms of wide open spaces when so many come from cities where they never hardly see us. And so I ask us to take the time what the options are that have been offered tonight, and I thank you for your permission and for your time.
I'll ditto with what everyone has said, so I'm narrowing my comments to paring down. But the 2015 Endangered Species Act wanted to list the greater sage-grouse. The government, of course, did not want that, so they instead developed a conservation plan that the Department of Interior accepted. The goal is to try to secure the survival of the sage-grouse. It is based on cool areas with critical habitat, and the state is supposed to minimize, mitigate any development on a core area. The birds that the sage that go to the park, and the Bridge of Teton, are part of the Jackson Hole population. Genetically distinct, they're quite isolated from other populations, and they've been hovering at historic lows, despite what could be said as a promising conservation plan. The Kelly parcel is centrally located in the Jackson Hole population area. Despite it being a mere it has quite diverse habitat, which in the year cycle for the sage-grouse has to include a safe place to incubate and egg. The chicks are not on stage initially, so it has to offer grasshoppers and arthropods and winter range. And the Kelly Council has all this. Governor Gordon has said Wyoming has a proven track record in management of sage-grouse. I'm pretty sure he is still in the sage-grouse, but I hope you take his opinion under consideration. And then briefly on the pronghorns, usually there's 300 to 400 in the Grand Teton herd. In 2023, the official count is 9. There's an estimation it could be 25 or more. In early October, I happened to see my first month of the season, we were almost within sight of the Kelly parcel. They migrate 200 miles from the winter range to the summer range of the park, and the memory of that migration is passed down from the does to their fawn. And it seems we're depending on fewer than 12 does to have the memory. So with this use of iris, they're really terrible situation. And we could lose the wrong one, totally lose them. So as others have also said, this isn't just a local issue. The women in the world expect to see these iconic animals, and it's also an important part of the community. The Wyoming electeds have shown that they can be extremely creative in accomplishing what they want. So I have no doubt that there are ways that we can to art. I do think some people recently, in their comments, have suggested some ways forward. So, good luck.
We have time for just one more. See if anybody else.
Well, that's one, pressure's on, right? Director, thank you so much for running. I know you're required to, but I do think that you are genuinely interested in what we have to say. Obviously, there's a lot of passion and rituals here. And so, yes, Taylor Phillips, I'm a small business owner in Jackson. I employ 35 individuals in BI wildlife programs throughout the system. In our 15 years of existence, we have toured close to 100,000 individuals. A lot of these programs have taken us adjacent to this Kelly Park. We've seen everything from mule deer, pronghorn, elk, you name it. We know it's a viable winter habitat for the wildlife that is finding home. Number two industry across Wyoming is tourism, right? Second largest industry, second to minerals. And wildlife, it's very clear that wildlife is a main driver of our travel. We have visitors coming from all over the world. They're spending dollars in hotels, they're buying gas. These taxes are contributing greatly to general fund. I have kids, and our kids, they go to Colton Elementary. It's an incredible school. Wyoming has an incredible school system, and I appreciate this call service. But I realize that money has to come from somewhere. It doesn't go as much as we like it to. So I implore you to consider to bring this into conservation measures. If this does go off, please consider, that hunting access be retained, that grazing to be retained. And at the end of the day, the state board has the final say. Whose hand this goes into. I see this as, schools can have their money, and then the wildlife can have the landscape to help our second largest economy in the state. Healthy. And I think also, there's a lot of passionate individuals in this room, right? And I think it's important that we have one message that we send to Cheyenne. And I would I want folks in this room to consider, the message that we've heard from our Superintendent Jenkins and from the Park Foundation to, let's take their lead and, send one message, because it comes from, I have not. So you all will hold on for it. So thank you.
Thank you all very much for coming tonight. Sorry we couldn't get this everybody's comment. I'm sure we will take those to the board. Also, feel free to mail in or email your comments to Jason Crowder, whose information is up there on the slide. Again, thank you for your passion, your communication, your respectfulness. Appreciate it tonight. We hear you, and we will take your comments. Thank you so much.